Hello and welcome back again to our latest interview with Ecotourism Australia accredited members. I'm delighted to be here today with Hannah from DropBear Adventures from Fraser Island, or Kagari as it should most appropriately be known. Welcome, Hannah.
Thank you for having me, Simon.
So we've had a really nice chat the last few days, and I think one of the things again that enamors me about interviewing and talking to people who are with the organization is just how much you actually do behind the scenes. But I want to come to that in a moment. Before we start, what I wanted to find out a little bit more about was your connection. So do you want to tell me how you came to be on Fraser Island, and maybe perhaps describe a little bit about the place itself?
Yeah, sure. Gary is one of those places that you come to once and you'll always remember it. I'm sure a lot of people have been. If you haven't, you're crazy. You need to go. And if you have been, you need to go again. It's a really beautiful spot. And I came to Australia as a backpacker. You can tell from my voice, I'm a fellow Pom, and came over here and was just looking for life to be a bit different, really. And I found Murray. It's just such a magical spot, so diverse. I think that's one of the things that people always love about Fraser so much is that it's got so much diversity to offer that your adventure can just be so unique, and you can find your spot anywhere. Rainforests and huge sand blows and miles of sandy beaches and amazing freshwater lakes. And yeah, it's been a joy to sort of experience it. And then I suppose through falling in love with it as a guest, as somebody who came to experience it from overseas, I just wanted to help more and more people have that type of experience. So I started volunteering at a property that I now own and manage. So it's come a long way. But yeah, I just started volunteering and helping out, making some beds, did the whole work for accommodation thing back when it was legal, and then put my hand up to manage. And I remember the owner at the time saying, "Oh, no. You can't do this. We've never had a girl up here manage this. You've got to deal with generators, and you've got to deal with cars breaking down and septic tanks." And I was like, okay, well, let's give it a go. I'm a pretty fiery kind of girl, and I think there's a lot of women out there, a lot of people out there who feel the same. As soon as you had told you can't do something, it's like, challenge accepted. Let's bring it on. And I loved it. Every day was different, and I loved getting to know the locals. I loved the simplicity of life over there. There's a real camaraderie with everybody, and I mean, times are tough now and people are rallying together, but that's always sort of been something that Gary has had, and I've loved being in that space for the last 10 years, and having that sort of community. So it's been an amazing adventure. I was then met my husband, now husband, at beach camp.
Oh,
Yeah,
there you
that's
go.
there. We got married at Sandy Cape, a beautiful spot right on the top of the island where no tours go. It's our little escape away from the tourists. So we had 30 of our most beloved friends and family fly from all over the world. Um, and we did a four-wheel drive adventure holiday. So it was good. It was a really, really awesome couple of days. And it was funny when Mark actually proposed to me on my birthday. I always joke with him that he tries to do everything on my birthday, so he only has to remember the one date. And my family were coming over in April, and he proposed in the November. And I said, "What do you think?" He said, "Well, I've asked the question. We may as well put the second ring on the finger." And it was done within a few months. And it was just really nice, a good excuse to get everyone up to a place that we love so much and spend so much time. And yeah, I think we'll have to have another one because it was just amazing weekend. And that's what we really love to do, whether it's our wedding or bringing people to the island or hosting them, staying in their own four-wheel drives. We just really like to create a nice space where people can relax and be their best selves.
Your so first of all, I think I got the pronunciation of the island wrong, which I think you
Simon, yeah.
elegantly corrected me on in Ngari. Um, Secondly, yes. So as a young woman on Fraser Island, you were challenged on the basis of your abilities, but you're not a Pom. You're from Wales. So
Well,
theoretically,
yes,
but you
yeah.
came from a family a large family in a remote community, which presumably that would have given you a good standing for working in one of these isolated places, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we were always pretty independent. I grew up not quite in the bush like Aussies do, but I grew up in the country, and you know, having or being the eldest of so many kids, my mum was always just get on with it, and we always laughed that she ran the family more like the army corps. It was just everyone had their jobs to do, and you cracked on, and if you couldn't do it, you asked for help. You put your hand up, and you Google searched, which is what we all do these days. But before, you just ask for help, and that's what something I really loved about embracing the island. There was so many new things for me to learn, not just about the island, but island life as well. And I was really lucky to have some amazing locals there, just helping out and feeding my mind. And I've been a bit of a sponge over the last 10 years, and yeah, I'd say. There's not much I don't know these days, and my husband still knows more than me, of course.
I doubt it. and here,
I let him, of course.
and here we have beautiful Fraser Island, which I think speaks for itself. An amazing location.
Oh, it's just so magic. I mean, the Wangari there, you see the dingo. Um, Fraser is one of those places, as soon as you get on the barge, you feel a world away. And that's what we, really try and help people do. But Gari is something we're really trying to make sure people know that the island does have a traditional name. It has been through a few names over the years: Great Sandy Island, and now Fraser Island, obviously named after Eliza Fraser. But the Bachelor have a very strong connection to the island and have been there for thousands of years. And we really like to honour the island's traditions, and not just through referring to her as Gari, the female spirit that she is, but also living by the laws. The Bachelor people have three laws of Gari. What's good for the land must come first. If you have plenty, share. And that refers to knowledge. So that's something that often people think of possessions, but that's actually knowledge. And if it's not yours, don't touch it. And I think they're really, three very simple, beautiful rules that we've put into our business. And really, that's what's helped us create such an amazing experience that, our guests just love and come back for more. So it's been amazing to have that connection with country and build our business in that way.
And that kind of leads us gently on to one of your areas of interest during your trips. Your guests get actively involved in beach plastic cleanup. I know it's a trend in a way for many people, or so they think, but for you it's more than that because you're seeing it every day and living in it and around it. So you integrate that within your work. But the first thing I wanted to ask you about, I've shown a little video that a little slideshow. You were involved in a beach cleanup with a local group. I think 3.5 tons of plastic recovered in a day. Tell us a little bit about this work.
Yeah, so this is something that we've been working with Ocean Crusaders and Surfrider Foundation for many years, supporting their beach cleanups on the Noosa North Shore. And they just sort of said to me that the team come to the island all the time, and they said, how are we going to clean up the island? It's huge. It's a big mission, and transport logistically is very difficult. The cost of getting to the island is very difficult. So there was the challenge. I accepted the challenge and we went, okay, let's work this out. So We brought up just under 100 people up to the island for a weekend. We hosted, put on the food and transport and everything for everyone to get up there. And we got them working. And we, yeah, just in one day of picking up rubbish, it was actually about 6 hours. So, not a 12-hour day. We weren't out there. I wasn't slave driving anyone to be involved. Just in that amount of time, we picked up so much. And what was really surprising to us that particular weekend, obviously we pick up rubbish all the time. We get our guests involved, and we really do it as a challenge. We just because when you're driving up the beach, you imagine you're driving up the beach, you're doing 80 k's an hour. You don't often see the things, the rubbish, the shells, all that sort of stuff. You don't see until you slow down. Life is very like that, isn't it, Simon?
Yes.
Slow down, and it's amazing what you see. So this is what we would do. We would drive up the beach, and we'd start talking about rubbish, and people say, "Oh, there's nothing really there," and then we'd stop and we'd slow down and we say, "Right, okay, we're going to do this section. It might just be not even 100 meters. It wouldn't be a huge section, but we're going to go hard for 20 minutes. Let's see how much rubbish we can pick up." And that photo you were showing there with the group, that's literally a 5-minute stop. And all those plastic bottles collected. We do that a lot, and we take off all the waste that we collect on the island. And well, unfortunately, there is no recycling services on the island. So we're a very proud member of Ecotourism Australia, and it's a great program to be involved with. But we pay 3-4 times as much as we do for our accreditation in the cost of taking our recyclable waste off as well. So it's a big commitment for us. We think, what's good for the land must come first. We have to put our best foot forward there, living by that bachelor law. And, what's good for the land is definitely not plastic choking it. And for us, we've seen things firsthand that we just can't ever ignore. Every time I pick up a piece of plastic, I remember that turtle that we saw wash up and had float, and there was no way we could help them. I remember the dingo running off with a plastic bag in its mouth. All these images come into my mind, and I think I have to do this, because above anything in our business, I can have all the cars in the world and a nice big fancy resort, but if the island is not preserved, if the island is not looked after, none of us have anything. And I think that is our biggest asset as a company. And as an industry, is to look after our beautiful natural environment. So yeah, looking after it was amazing to work with the ocean team at Ocean Crusaders. Ian and Annika are our previous tour guides in the tourism industry, so they're very passionate. They rescued one too many turtles from the Whitsundays and decided enough was enough, and they're doing their Ocean Crusaders, and it was a great thing to be part of. And I was really surprised, which was what I was originally saying before I went off my tangent. I was really surprised when we came back that day after people said, "Oh, there didn't seem that there was much." And if you remember last year, we had that cyclone just off the coast.
Yeah.
It battered our coastline. A lot of rubbish was exposed. And then unfortunately, by the time our cleanup came around in October, all that sand was starting to get dumped back on the shoreline. So a lot of it was being covered up, which was extremely upsetting to me. I was devastated, and my husband was trying to, rest assured, we'll get enough, babe. And when we came back, I was really surprised. Everyone sort of said, "Oh, it didn't feel like we got that much." That's my dog in the background.
That's all right.
Yet when you put all of that together, it makes a huge difference. And I think this is the thing that, the biggest lesson that we take from our cleanups, and our guests do, is every little bit that we each do makes a big difference.
Yeah.
And we can't forget that.
No, you're absolutely right. Look, I think we'll end on that point. It's an extremely powerful message.
Me talking rubbish.
Oh no! Oh yeah,
talking rubbish.
we should all talk rubbish more frequently. Hannah, it's been a real pleasure. I know you've got another meeting coming up, so we'll call it a day. But I obviously encourage everyone to drop onto DropBear Adventures website, Ocean Crusaders. Check them out as well. And we'll be
and check out our beach camp retreat. It's our property on the island. We have a glamping facility there as well. We're your one-stop shop for Fraser. And hey, if it's not right for you, I can tell you where we'll be. I've lived there for 10 years, and I'm your girl. I know there's, like I say, if I don't know it, it's not worth knowing.
Excellent. Well, we'll look forward to catching up again with you at some stage. Thanks again for your
Thanks, Simon.
time. It's been an absolute pleasure. All right. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye.